Welcome, everybody, or welcome back if you've joined us before. Today, I have a really special gift for everybody. I am so excited about this episode. You know, every now and then I get to bring people on who are going to give their points of view, their philosophies, their ideas. But today is a very, very special guest. I've known Mindy for a long time. I don't even know how many years. We'll have to ask her. But she is the author and community leader for the What If Club. I can't wait for you to hear what this is about. I love her message because it's very synchronistic with mine. They really kind of build on each other, and I really like the way that they resonate. I mean, it's kind of like harmonizing at this amazing frequency. So I'm really excited to have her on. And without further ado, let me bring her on here. And here is Mindy.
Hey, Randy, thank you so much. I
Oh,
don't know, 20 years, it's been a long, long time.
I
And
was thinking 20.
yeah, it's close to
Yeah.
that. It's close to that. And
Wow.
it's such a joy to be here. I'm so excited to be here and to connect with all of your people. This is awesome.
Yes,
Hi, everybody.
absolutely. And I want my people to know about what you're doing because I just think I mean, you put things in such a simple term and an easy way for people to digest the information.
Mm,
And, my whole philosophy behind what we're all doing, all of us in this space, it's kind of like we're boxes of cereal in the grocery store. And you get to pick which one you like. And I don't know about you, but mine is a little bit of Cheerios, a little bit of Special K, and a little bit of granola. Yeah, you put them, I have one of those containers and I pour them all in, get the right. Yeah, and that's how I nourish myself.
yeah.
So I love your message. I can't wait to tell my viewers and listeners about what it is that you're doing because yours has kind of evolved over time too,
Mhm.
which is, part of the self-growth movement. As we grow, our message grows.
Right.
So let's start with a little bit of background, how you got started in this. I know that you were part of a Unitarian church before, and
Unity Church. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I want to go way back there and your speaking and being in the church and how you've evolved into this space here. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, if we were to go back to when you and I first knew each other as
yeah.
speakers working with college students, that's really when it started for me because I was out there starting my own business in my 20s and feeling very incompetent. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going for it. And I got friends that are going for it too. So we had a great time together doing that. And at that time, I found a group of women who were studying this new thing at the time, the law of attraction. And so, as a way of helping us get out of that mindset of who am I to do this, and all the self-sabotaging thoughts that I think
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think everybody kind of has a little bit
We
of that
all do
going
that. Yeah.
on, maybe a little bit, maybe.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
had a lot of that voice going on, and I found this group, and we were studying the law of attraction and how do you shift your mindset? How do you get your thoughts lined up with where you actually want to go? So I started this process as something that I needed in my life so I could grow my business, so I could build my self-esteem, which is really the key to growing
Yeah.
your business or having a
Mhm.
successful anything. So I used it for myself and I loved it so much that I started incorporating it into the programs I was doing with college students. So, I was
Mhm.
doing leadership retreats and I'm like, oh, we're going to take this little idea of, the power of what if and bring it into, an icebreaker. It'll be fun. It'll raise the energy. It'll be good. And then, so I started doing this as an icebreaker or as an energizer at some of the leadership retreats I did. And I started having these students come up to me afterwards saying, Mindy, you're not going to believe what happened to me since that training. And it
Mm.
was always, of all the things I taught, it was always going back to this simple little exercise. And, you share something that you want, the group helps you brainstorm it. And people would say, you're not going to believe I mean, I cannot tell you how many people come up to me and say, Mindy, you are not going to believe what's happened to me since we did that circle.
Awesome.
And so I was like, okay, there is something going on here that I
Mhm.
wanted to understand. And that's really where the book came from, and using it in spiritual community. I started the spiritual quest. I wanted to understand there is something to this that is more than meets the eye, because I'm just seeing it show up over and over and over again in people's lives. So
Isn't it pretty cool how the universe shows us where it wants us to go?
yeah,
If
yeah.
we're willing to listen, you go for it.
And I think it starts like the journey starts with, what do I need? I needed something that could help
Yeah.
me get out of my, my firestorm of negativity, and
Mhm.
not that I was a negative person, but I was not super easy on myself. And I'm still not. I'm still, I'm still trying to navigate that, and to have a
Mhm.
tool that will let me get really clear on, okay, now what is it that I'm really wanting out of this? I can see what I don't want. I know what the complaint is. I know what the big dream is, but what's stopping me? Finding the limitations, and then having a tool that I can use to turn it around, to
Mhm.
point myself in the direction that I want to go in, and then to be able to plus it out so that it's like, okay, now, wow, that's really exciting. And now I'm really excited. And now I'm pumped up. And now you can't stop me because I'm so energized about this thing. Whereas before I used this tool, I was thinking, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. That sounds like maybe somebody else could, but I don't know. I don't know if I could.
Fear gets in the way.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Second guessing, self doubt, self
Mhm.
sabotage, all those things. It
Yeah.
all gets in the way.
So how did you get over that, accomplish it, break through that wall?
Yeah, so and that's the tool. So the tool that we use is called What If Upping.
Mhm.
And I'll share it with you, with your listeners. You can use it. Is an
Yeah.
awesome tool for building your self-esteem, building your self-confidence. Essentially, you can either take something that you don't want, or you can take something that you do want. So maybe you're one of the people that sets your goals, and you're very focused on, the carrot that's dangling in front of you, and you move towards that. Or maybe you're one of those people that you need a kick in the pants to be able to like get motivated. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Like, you either take what you don't want, what you do want. If you're starting with something you don't want, which I find most people do, usually when people come in, it's because, oh, I've got a health diagnosis, or I'm trying to do this thing and I notice I keep sabotaging myself, or whatever that thing is.
Mhm.
So you take that don't want and you say, anytime there's something you don't want, on the other side of it, there's something that you do want. So if I don't want to be sick, then I want to be well. If I don't
Mhm.
want to be lonely, then I want to have companionship and relationship. So on the other side of your don't want, there's always what you do want. So we
Mhm.
start with that clarity on what is it that I'm moving towards. And then once you have that, then we use the question, what if? Only instead of using it like most people do and say, well, what if I can't? And what if somebody else does it
Mhm.
better? And what if it's too late? What if it's too expensive? Blah, blah, blah. We call that what if downing. It's like taking your energy down that dark tunnel. But what we do is we what if up, using the power of what if, using the power of your imagination to generate positive possibilities. So, what if this is your time? What if it's all been lining up for you? What if the resources you need, the mentors you need are all right here at your fingertips? And what
Mhm.
if there's never been a better time for you to do the thing that you want to do? So we use the question, what if, to create the possibility. And then the next piece of it is then tapping into the wisdom that is within each of us to
Yeah.
be able to then discern, okay, I got all these ideas and they're all wonderful. I can't do them all at the same time. What's mine
Mhm.
to do? And so we use our wisdom to guide us into action. And I tell you, if you take one little action on a consistent basis that is different than what you used to do, you'll go
Yes.
places that you never imagined possible. One
Exactly.
little action at a time.
And isn't it amazing too, you talk about that wisdom. How many times are we in a situation, oh my God, what would happen if I did this? And I don't know. And then you get to the other side, it's like, oh my God, I knew that I could do that.
Yeah.
Why did I doubt? It's like the wisdom is there if we choose to listen to it.
Yeah.
But again, we what if down and we start doubting and we listen to the bully rather than the best friend. And all of a sudden we're in defeatism.
Right. Well, and the thing is, all of that lives in your imagination. It's all in our head. So
Yeah.
that's all this conversation that's going on. Your imagination can, we can be completely apocalyptic with our imagination. We can
Yeah.
completely go down that road of it's all over and, I might as well give up. We can do that so
Yeah.
easily. And
Right.
because we can do that, that means we can also go the other direction, because the
Absolutely.
other direction says, we've got this. And all
Mhm.
it takes is our imagination, some ingenuity, some strategy, some structure, and we can do anything that we set our minds to if
Right.
we are willing to step into action on it. So your
Yeah.
imagination that can take you down there can also take you in other directions. And And that's all it is imagination. And then the question is,
Absolutely.
what do we do with it?
Beautiful. Yep, very well said. You mentioned earlier, like someone who gets a diagnosis of, let's say, cancer,
Yes.
and it has been proven that your mental attitude that you put into it really determines whether you're going to succeed or not. Not 100%, but if you go into, oh my God, what if I do this and it doesn't work? What if the cancer comes back? What if it spreads? Or what if this chemo works and
Mhm.
I do whatever I can to get better and I drink water and eat healthier foods and I do this? Oh, what is it going to feel like to be 5 years away from like diagnosis?
Yeah.
What if I do everything and it works?
Yeah.
So it's a
I
choice.
So I'll share you a story. There was a woman named Susie who lived up in the Northwest, and I was up there doing a training. I gave her my book. She bought my book, and she was a wonderful woman, and had a great time, and off we went. So that Christmas, I gave her the book in March. That Christmas, I got a Christmas card, and she sent me the letter. She did one of those Christmas letters to her family, like, here's what I did this year. So what I didn't know when I met Susie is that she had stage 3 cancer,
Mm,
that she had been going through stomach cancer. She'd been going through treatment. There were 2 other women that were sort of matching her in her treatment. So every time she would go in for chemo, she'd see these 2 other women. So
mhm.
when I saw her in March, she was going through those treatments. By April, the 2 other women had passed away,
Oh,
and she was left. And she decided, what if it all goes right?
mm,
She'd always wanted to do the spiritual pilgrimage on the Camino. Um,
mhm,
so she had this dream of, I want to do this spiritual pilgrimage. I don't know how many miles it is. It's a pretty substantial walk.
mhm.
And so she told her husband, this is what I want to do. And they started training. And they trained for 4 months while she had her little stomach pouch of what, I don't know what she was hooked up
Mhm.
to, but she started training with a backpack, and here's what I want to do, and I want to be able to carry the weight. And they started walking every day and increasing their mileage every day. And her Christmas card had pictures of her at the end of the pilgrimage,
Oh,
like this. And not only that, but they're like, while we're here, I want to go to the desert and I want to ride a camel. And I want to, so she had this Christmas card full of these amazing things. And she decided, tomorrow is not a guarantee. So I'm gonna start taking action today to do the things that I've
yeah.
always wanted to do. So isn't that amazing?
Those those are the stories that keep us going and motivate us, because sometimes like, is anybody even listening to this? Is
Yeah,
anybody watching this?
yeah,
But those just make all the difference in the world.
yeah,
Great
yeah,
reinforcers.
yeah,
Have you
absolutely.
heard from her since?
I was just thinking about her the other day because that's been, I don't know, it's probably been 5 or 6 years. I'm like, I need to reach out to her and see
Yeah,
what she's doing.
that'd
Um,
be cool.
yeah, that would be
In
cool.
fact, do you do a podcast also or YouTube or anything like that?
Right now, you can go to at What If Up.
Mhm.
I'm doing a book club series right now. So we're actually
Ooh,
going through the whole What If It All Goes Right book, one chapter
mhm.
at a time. So I'm
Cool.
releasing a new video kind of every week.
Okay.
Today I'm like, okay, this is a really busy. I'm speaking a lot this week. I'm like, this is a really busy week. So
Nice.
it's gonna be next week before the new video comes out.
Mhm.
We're on chapter 13. So if you go there now, you'll see there's some videos
Ah,
there. And the goal is we're gonna get through the whole book. And then I have some other things up my sleeve. But right now we're
very
just
cool.
doing sort of a deep dive with our community and with our YouTube followers for the book What If It All Goes Right, which will
Awesome.
tell you, how to what if up, how to do this in a circle,
Mhm.
all these different things.
Yeah.
This is in there. And so we're just kind of breaking it down of what's the mindset piece, what's the heart space piece, what's the
Mhm.
inspired action piece, and then what brings it all together.
Very cool. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was thinking it might be fun to do an interview with her.
Oh yeah, I actually did. And
Oh,
I'll have to find that. It was on my blog a long, long time ago. I named her, I dubbed her What If Upper of the Year. Like, okay, you definitely, when I got her Christmas card, I'm like, okay, Susie, you are it. Uh,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's really cool. It's really cool to see
very
what she
cool.
do.
God, and I love how your community's growing and you're doing, and you know what? I started the community because a lot of people who want to raise self-esteem don't have a supportive environment around them or a supportive community to help reinforce these little changes that they're going to make. So I'm sure that you get so much out of watching these people grow and
Oh, yeah.
learn. And
Well, and it works together too. I think that's the reason you talked about our synergy,
Mhm.
because what we do with our what if circles is we bring people together, and there's a very simple little process. I train people in it. It takes a day. I like, here's what you want to do. If you want to start a what if circle, it's really easy to get it up and going. But what's cool about once you have this circle, that structure, you can plug in whatever you want to plug into that structure. So,
Hmm.
like what you're talking about, every time you have a new guest, every time you're sharing new tools, I mean, your viewers, your listeners could say, "Hey, let's do a self-esteem what if circle, and let's
Yeah.
get together and take a tool each time we come together and talk about it, play with it, and in the midst of that, do this little activity to amp our energy up." So it works really well in tandem with, you're feeding your brain new information, you're gaining new tools, and then you're
Mhm.
also elevating your energy and doing it in community,
Yeah.
where sometimes, the way I see myself is not the way other people see me.
Hmm.
Usually, the way I see
Yeah.
myself is much more critical than the way
Absolutely.
other people are like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, like, you can do anything." And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Well,"
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's nice to hear people that look at you and say, "Yeah, you can do anything. I totally see that in you."
mhm.
That's
Yeah.
a powerful space to be in.
Yeah. And that's the community that we're building too. And there's definitely room. People can do both.
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
work together really well. They work together really well.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about the whole community thing because we need each other. There's no way I could have made the changes in my life without having a community around me.
Yeah,
No way. I
yeah,
mean, that's the beauty of it. And I think, especially after COVID, people have become so isolated. I
yeah.
mean, loneliness is like one of the major issues and problems we have today.
Mhm.
That these communities are a way for people to connect with like-minded people because they wouldn't be listening or watching our stuff if something wasn't making sense to them.
Right.
That, well, I really like this, let me dive into a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
the loneliness epidemic is, like what that does to our health, what it does to our productivity. It is a huge issue, which I love. I mean, I don't love the fact that it's a problem, but I love the fact that there's attention now going to it, because
Yeah.
I think in the past it was like, community builder, like, yeah, what's that? Like, of course, like it's not really a thing. And now we're seeing, no, building community is one of the most important things that we can do. And it's not
Yes.
necessarily intuitive. It's not something, well, maybe it is, but we've forgotten. I think it's sort of it's
Yes.
becoming a lost art of community building, community gathering. And it's one that we desperately need to re-engage for us to be able
Absolutely.
to handle, life as it is in our modern times.
Absolutely. And I think when the suburban communities came together, a lot of them, people didn't lock their doors. Kids would go from one house to the next.
Yeah.
We had that community where we all took care of each other, and it kind of disappeared. And COVID just kind of boom, squashed it.
Yeah.
So now we need to bring it back. So that's why people like you are so important to what's going on in our society today. So I still value you and just like honor you and what you're doing. It's just phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. And I am
Yeah,
so excited to see you and your community and the teachings that you bring to people and
yeah.
how empowering they are, how life-changing they are.
Mhm.
So it's exciting to be here in your ecosystem of, like confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah.
And this is who we were born to be. This
Yeah.
is who we are without all the labels, without all the judgments that other people have put on us and we have taken on. Who are
Mhm.
we at our truest self?
Yeah.
It's confident and it's whole and it's believing in ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
it's a return to who we are truly meant to be.
It's pretty cool, huh?
It's
And you know
amazing.
what? Here, I want to talk about this a little bit before we end. I'm sure you're seeing it with Jenna, your daughter.
Mhm.
I'm seeing it with Eden. They don't see color and gender, and they just see people as people. And is Jenna doing that too?
Yeah, it's a very different. It's a different generation, and it's
It's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
So cool because our generation we look for the differences and separate ourselves where theirs is really starting to come together.
yeah,
And I'm really excited when their generation is going to be in power and all these old men who are doing things now go away and more women come into power and
yeah,
then their generation steps in because that's where happiness and joy are. That's where peace of mind is, in
Mhm.
not in the distances, but in the coming together as
Yes.
people, and just realize we're all human. We're all doing the same thing. It doesn't matter what religion, what color your skin, what gender, what you want to, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely I agree. I think it's a beautiful time of coming together and sort of a balancing of energies where,
Yeah.
it's not so much like be the top, which means beat everybody down. It's more let's collaborate together, let's create
Mhm.
together, let's work on we're doing college, tours and things like that. And these
Fine.
colleges that I'm going to now, it's like, oh, the project-based stuff and the collaboration that's happening. And
Yeah.
it's not the fight to be the valedictorian. It's the what,
No.
how can we work together and how can we take what you want to create and what I want to create and find synergy in
Mhm.
working together. So it is a very exciting time to be on the planet. If you
Yeah.
focus on the good that's happening, there's
Yes.
a lot of good happening right now.
Because what if it all turns out amazing and we do come together as one community?
What if that process of getting to that paradise that we envision, like what if how we need to change and who we become in the process is really the point of it anyway? Like what if the challenges that are ahead of us and the struggles that are ahead of us, because
Mhm.
creation isn't always blink your eyes and,
Yeah.
like genie, it shows up. Like we have to move through our stuff. We have to move
Mhm.
through our old paradigms. We have to be willing to step into a new way of looking at gender and race. And I mean, we have to be able to like look at our stuff and say, okay, well, this is the way I was taught, but that model isn't really true. And
It's
so what
antiquated.
and so there's sort of this limbo place of, ooh, okay, now I got to figure out like how do I show up?
Mhm.
What is my space in my relationship when all those things that you never questioned, you never
Yeah.
questioned that what
Mhm.
pronouns to use. And like that wasn't a thing.
Yes.
And now it's like, it's good to question those things. It's good to sort of look at like, okay, how do I see things and what do I need to shift to be
Mhm.
able to get to that vision of the world that I imagine is possible. And
Exactly.
we're on our way. We really are on our way.
We are. I totally agree with you. Yeah. And I would love to have you back sometime too.
Yes.
Or continue the
Anytime.
conversation. And I think at some point in the future, I'll probably do a live so that people can ask questions and do all that. I mean, they can now. If anyone wants to email and say, "Hey, I have a question for Mindy," how do people contact you? What is
Well,
your website, email address? How are people going to get in touch with you?
I will say the easiest way is I'm in your community. So all you have to do is
Oh,
find my profile and direct message me inside the community. But
that's true.
if you want to learn more, you can go to my website, or if you're looking for speakers for retreats or keynotes or whatever, if you want to get trained to lead a what if circle, I mean, you could bring self-esteem and these teachings into a what if circle. I would love to connect. I'm at whatifup.org is our nonprofit organization. That's our website. MindyAudlin.com for speaking inquiries or interviews or whatever you might want to get in touch with me about. I'm easy to connect with.
Awesome. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you, Randy.
You're
It's great to be
awesome.
here.
And you know what? After we end the recording, I want to talk to you. I want to find out where Jenna's looking at colleges. So
You
I
got
want
it.
to continue this because we rarely connect with each other. So now that I have you, I don't want to
Oh, I'm
lose
not
you
going
just
anywhere.
yet. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you.
Mhm.
I hope you got something out of this. Definitely look her up. It's worth it. And again, it's the micro changes that lead to macro results. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you for another episode next week. Take care.